Alright, hello everybody and welcome back. We're back at Jimmy's Track once again for the second part of that details video I promised in the end of the last one. And we got a lot of very important questions about scale. I mean, what is this track without scale, right? And how do we measure scale accurately? And I'd like to refer you to, I think, one of the coolest innovations, in my opinion, this wonderful scale ruler we got on the wall here. And of course, we also have this wonderful chart above as well. But this ruler blows me away. Uncle Jim, how'd you think of it? You know, tell me a bit about it.
Well, I've told you how important scale is to me, right?
Yes.
Everything, it doesn't look right if it isn't the right size in 1/32 scale.
Right.
And I had this this chart here, which breaks down inches to 1/32 scale inches, but I had to keep referring to it. So what I did is I wrote all the pertinent information on the back of my rulers. So no matter where I am on the track, I know that a 1/16 of an inch equals 2 inches, or a 1/4 inch equals 8 inches. 3/8 equals 1 foot. So every foot, every 3/8 of an inch is 1 foot.
Right.
All the way down to 2 inches equals 64 inches. So I have these around the track and I use them all the time. As you can see, some are more beat up than others.
Right.
But I think it's important for people to note that. It's not hard to write that on the back of your ruler. And it keeps you sane. It keeps you always understanding where you're at. You don't notice, they're highway barriers with steel rods through the center. I drilled a hole in them. And then I put fencing on it. And I put, what they use these advertising panels for is to stop people from standing behind these barriers and observing the race where it's unsafe.
Right.
So wherever it's unsafe, you'll see one of these guys set up in there.
Very nice.
But that's what these are. These barriers are nothing more than this plaster of Paris. I made one out of wood, like I told you before, and then I made a mold of it with the blue stuff, and I made these. And I make enough so that I figure I have enough for the whole track. This is made out of styrofoam. This is a piece of 1/4 inch styrofoam that is cut with a knife. If you take the wrong side of a X-Acto knife and scribe the mortar lines in there, then I take a toothpick and I crush it. Paint the whole thing black or dark gray, and then lightly with a wash of different colors, just touch the top of the block.
Wow.
And it ends up looking like a block wall.
I like that. That's very cool. Very nice.
This guy right here, well, I got the camera.
Yeah, well, we're here.
This is made out of, can you get that?
Yeah, I sure can.
It's made out of steel coat hanger. That's what this represents.
You can find these anywhere, too.
Yeah, can you see that there?
Yeah.
And then out of, you know what a Roman shade is?
I don't think I do.
A Roman shade is a shade that rolls up and it's made out of straw.
That's right.
And these days they make them out of plastic. And this plastic straw came from a Roman shade. I don't know if are you picking that up?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that's what these guys are right here.
You're kidding.
No. And if I need support, I can put aluminum wire inside of it.
Yes.
And I crush the end, as I'll do right there. See how I crush the end? And that end gets glued to the wire, coat hanger wire, you see?
So you bent that coat hanger into the shape that you needed.
I made it as straight as I possibly could. I talked in the other video that we did about, you know, always keeping my eyes open for things to use on the track. And I was at the grocery store one day, and, you know, they always put a little toy there next to the cash register to keep crying babies and mommies to buy the dollar stuff.
That's right.
This Creative Links building set is nothing more than this stuff right here. I'm going to show you. And it was all of $1. It was all of $1. You see how it goes together?
Yeah.
And that's what I made this out of.
Oh, you're kidding. So it's basically those dollar store Legos that you can find.
Right.
Very
nice. I'm going to show you what I did. I painted half of them black, and then it left the rest white.
Yes.
and I put them together. They slide together. They lock together. It's a locking. I don't know what you can build with them, but kids lock them together. And then I chamfered the inside to clear for plaster, because I drilled holes for these pegs to go into. And then once that hardened, I used plaster of Paris, and I created this.
That shell logo that we all are familiar with, of course.
I put a piece of wood temporarily down here, and I filled this with plaster of Paris all the way up to these things.
Wow.
So my point here is that I enjoy taking junk that I get for next to nothing and applying it to the track.
Keep your eye out, guys. I know just building a track out there. Keep your eye out when you go to the dollar store. You might see something that you like, and that's that's how you build a track for just a couple of $100, really.
$300.
Yeah.
Don't shortchange.
I'm not going to shortchange you. It's $300.
You know what? See these apex here?
Yes.
I'm going to show you what that's made of. I'm going to come around the other side of you.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is molding that you get at the hardware. It comes in a strip.
Come take a look at this, Derek.
Like this, Derek. Maybe you can.
Yeah.
See this piece of molding?
Oh yes.
This is that. I'm going to give you the end view. It's a styrofoam material. It's very inexpensive. You can get it at any Lowe's or any Home Depot. Flexible. It cuts with a knife, and that's what we created this with. All around there.
Okay.
I paint one orange and one white. Here's.
You look at that.
Here's the orange one. I cut these to the right width. Again, I paint it black to begin with.
That's
okay.
the standard practice.
Right, and then the fluorescent orange, and that's how these are made.
And then you cut them to their appropriate.
Cut them. They cut really easy with an X-Acto knife.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, a quick question as well. These tire marks. How did you do that?
I happen to have a roller I made this out of an old tire.
Yeah.
And I run it through some paint, and then I do my own skid marks.
Oh, that's fun. That's great.
I've had people go, man, the cars must go wild here. No, I painted all that in.
It's all painted.
Hey guys, keep in mind you can if you have an old tire like one of these down here, attach that to a little roller, get some paint, and boom, there's
right.
that extra bit of realism. So
right.
Keep that in mind. That's really cool. That's molded.
There's another kind of apex I made. Again, it's out of that same flexible styrofoam. It'll crack. I mean, you can't flex it too much. But that over there is made
See
of
that over there?
See?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Take a look
Real
at that.
cool.
I noticed there are two of them stacked on top of each other, right at the beginning, right where they begin over here. Could you maybe explain to the audience why you did that?
Yeah, well, that's a good question, Derek. Basically what a piling does. It's a steel piece of angle iron that's jammed into the ground deep enough that they're tied together, and the dirt on the far side can't run off to this side. You can imagine how much weight that has to hold back.
Mm-hmm.
So everywhere you need a change of elevation from there to there, you see pilings or rocks. There's other things you can use. But what's nice about fake pilings is I can get more scenery in a given space. Right. If I were to put rocks in there, then I might not be able to get this stand in there and like that. Do you follow? And since the pilings are so long, on this side, this is level to Mother Earth, right? Yes. And the track is rising here. It's rising. So, of course, the pilings here are going to be longer. So these are those little power steering vanes that I use end to end. And you see it gets narrower down that way. That's because this is rising, and that's level to Mother Earth. I've used that other places, Derek. Look over here.
Take a look.
Yes. Here we go. Okay.
Yeah, here it's used to hold back this level of land. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And they'll pound those pilings in. Here it's painted for the apex. Here they got rusty. They were not painted. Mm-hmm. See one of my sewers?
Yep. There we go. From the last one. Yep.
Yeah. And then again, the pilings come around here, and I paint them before I put them in. Yes. Now, in actuality, this is a 3/4 inch piece of plywood cut to this shape, and these pilings are glued to it.
Very
They look
nice.
as if they're long pilings going down into the ground.
Very nice.
Beautiful.
The other thing that I wanted to talk about that people were asking about was the handrail.
Yes, yes.
The handrail.
Very important stuff.
Here's a whole series. Can you get in here to look at that?
Yes.
Here's a whole series of handrails, right? Handrails going up, and those are all made out of white coat hangers that you get. See, it's like that. Nothing more than a coat hanger. Ryan, you were showing us a coat hanger before.
Yes, I
it's the
was.
same thing. In fact, I don't even paint them. I use the white paint on the coat hanger.
And you just bend them to shape.
I just bend them, but you know, there's a trick to this. Let's come up here and I want to show you something. If you clench it with a pair of pliers, you know you're going to bend this.
Yeah.
With a pair of pliers,
Yeah.
right? If you clench it with a pair of pliers here, and you bend it, and then clench it with a pair of pliers here, you're going to get a different bend. You must clench it here, bend it, and then clench it here and bend it. You'll see, if you don't, it'll be a different radius.
It's going to look weird.
It won't look right.
So, once again, you have to clench it there and bend it, correct?
Yeah. Or clench it here and bend it, and then you'll get the same radius.
It must be the same.
It sounds cheesy, but when you look at it in 1/32 scale, you'll see it doesn't work properly.
Yeah.
Can you guys see these washers?
Take a look at those.
These are washers that I stuck to a piece of blue tape. I painted them white, and then I added the screw to it. And that's what you see right here, where it goes into the hole. So I can do a crappy job of putting a hole in there and gluing it, knowing that I slide the washer down and over it, and it hides the fact that I might not have made that hole perfect.
To me, I thought that was just an extra, realism detail.
It's not store bought. It's
That's great.
It's homemade, as everything else is in here.
That's the key. I mean,
I got another sewer in here.
for those of you who are
This might be the only look anybody gets at that sewer. No one can see it in there.
There we go. That's
exclusive look. The pits. it looks like,
yeah. Let me step aside.
has a little extra addition to it. It looks like a little mock-up of a garage.
Well, like I always try to mock-up. That's exactly right, Ryan.
Right.
I try to get things mocked up and see if they're going to interfere, see if they're going to look good.
Right.
And what you're looking at right there, right now, there is the Lego version of my pit area. The pits are based on pits that were used in Nürburgring.
The Nürburgring,
Yeah.
And this is a post, I did a study of it, and this is a pillar made out of block that supports girders that hold the pit up. And then they put this firewall in to keep any fire fuel from going into the pits. Now, if you back away, I want to show you that there's going to be one at every one of these joints. You can see I already prepared the inside of the garage by staining it. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 pillars I got to make. Times 2 for the backside is 30 pillars.
What do you plan to make them out of?
Well, I'm going to make them out of plaster in Paris. This is a sketch I made. Did I show that to you?
No, you haven't shown us the sketch.
This is a sketch that I made of what my pits would look like. And just like at Nürburgring, this iron beam comes out and holds an overhang, and there's people up on top, right next to fuel tanks, by the way, that come down here to fuel cars. But my intentions are to make this pillar out of Lego and then cast a mold of that Lego pillar and then fill it with plaster Paris and make, what did I say, 36 of these? And I'll make another casting of this right here. So what I just pointed out was this pillar and this pillar and this wall and this pillar and that pillar.
And it was all the results. This was the blueprint.
Yeah, more or less. That's my sketch. It's just a sketch.
That's the result. Yeah.
This sketch is not the scale.
So
Of
I
course.
noticed over here, since you were talking
What's
about
that?
the sketch, I noticed over here, you were talking about the sketch. I saw a couple of reference images.
Yeah, let me show you that.
Let's take a look at some
I'm
of those.
glad you
Those-
noticed that. There's a platform for fans watching, and then there's individual pits supported by a pillar and a wall.
Yes.
The wall really doesn't do any support. You can see at one time there were no walls in between. So my goal is to make these pillars out of plaster of Paris. And you know, we said that we were going to show that blue stuff.
Yeah.
And try to get we'll do that.
Yeah, we'll do that for those.
But first, I got to doctor that Lego.
Yes.
And I'll show you what I mean. Come on over.
Let's go take a look at the Lego. It's good stuff.
Where's my? I'm gonna get my. I gotta sit down.
Lego. That's right here. So Lego, as I understand it on your track, has had a multitude of uses.
I've used it. Actually, what you guys caught me in the middle of doing was going through my grandson's finer details from his Lego collection, which was handed down from my sons and my other 8 grandkids. So they've got boxes and bins of Lego.
Yeah.
So I went through it and I scavenged stuff that I thought would be of interest.
Yeah.
Like these pieces right here. And anything that I find I can use, I can make a mold of and cast in resin.
Well, there you go.
And give this stuff back to him. These are, I thought, architectural pieces. Probably boring people to death, but these I could use for architectural pieces. These for fine details. I mean, where do I go to buy details like this? But for venting inside the pits or in bathrooms. And I could use these for air conditioners.
Yeah.
Compressors, generators.
It's great for casting, I can tell.
Yeah.
So that white wall you got in front of you.
Okay, this is what I was about to talk about. This is regular Lego. See how it goes together?
Mm-hmm.
This is Lego that I carved into submission and made it look like a real block, cinder block.
Wow.
I'm going to separate these. Actually, I'll just take this off. And then I'm going to reach for a knife over here.
Exactly.
Yeah, thank you. And this is how I do it. It's simple as this. I just put little indentations in there, and you always got to cut the corner off.
Yeah, round it out.
If you don't cut the corner off, it doesn't look real. And looks dangerous, but by keeping my thumb there and just using a twisting motion, it's not as dangerous as it seems.
Yes. Keep your digits out of the way.
Yeah, the blade is sharp though, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Okay, so by doing this, I end up making it look like a piece of carved stone. Can you see that? I wish I could dirty that up. But
yeah.
And I'm gonna put it on here and you can get the idea, see? And when you get these guys together, you could take simple Lego and make it into a block you can use. In our case, Ryan, I'm going to use this to make a mold with the blue stuff.
Yeah.
And then cast it in plaster of Paris. Why? Because I got so many of them to make.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What
Be a lot
we say?
of Lego.
36 of them.
36
of them. Plus, these are a little bit too thick.
Yes. You want that texture.
The texture, and I can control how thick I want to make the pillar.
So,
you want me to show you where else I use this idea?
Yeah, let's take a look.
These blocks right here.
Oh my goodness.
Those are the actual. I wish we had more light. Here's a little bit more light here. You can see them right there. See?
Yeah.
That's all made out of these.
Look at that.
So, for those of you building walls on your track, making molds out of those Lego carved pieces clearly yields some pretty cool results.
And that's actual stuff. Now, come on over here. You can see the base for this sign is done with that too. But I didn't know about carving them at the time. That's just straight Lego. That's just straight Lego there. Now I painted all flat black, and then I used that concrete method that we talked about, spraying it the 2 colors, and the lines between stay dark. And it's kind of dark to get a shot here, but you can get a view of it here all the way around. It's the foundation for that sign.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
And it doesn't have to be Lego. I go to rummage sales, Ryan. I go to garage sales, especially where moms want to get rid of all their dirty Lego.
Right.
I've had many many bins of Lego soaking in detergent, you know,
Yeah.
and going through it. And then whatever I don't use, I give to my grandkids. I have friends who leave Lego at the door because they know I use it so much. Another way it can be used is to make a square, and when you make a mold and you press down on that blue stuff, you know how it spreads out?
Yeah.
Well, if you make a Lego square, you can use less blue stuff because it doesn't spread out so far, and because the Lego can come apart, you can get it off there.
That makes
But
sense.
it doesn't stop at Lego. I showed you this, what was it called? Creative Links building set? I showed you how I used that at the shell corner.
Yes.
That's why I used the shell corner. This is called, what's this called, Ryan? Construct?
Those are like
Construct?
I've
It's
seen
called
them
Construct.
before. Yeah.
But you know what? You know what I use that for? Come here, I'll show you. That's that transformer on the back of the pole. See that?
Oh my goodness.
You're kidding.
I'm gonna pull
Yes.
this out so you can see it. The magnet. See?
Oh my
That's it.
goodness.
You're joking.
I needed a place. Can you see, Ryan?
Yeah.
I needed a place to tie all the wires together and an excuse before I spread them out to each light individually. These lights came off of a snow village, which had a ski resort and just some lights. So I hollowed this out and I made that and I put a business card face on it.
Wow.
It just looks so.
I never would have guessed. I've
So
seen
that's
those.
where this came from. Hey, my point is this. You know, don't turn away stuff that you think might be used another day. This came from the St. Joseph garage sale. Now, what this might be is I think Kenner's had a building house set.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you. Want me to show you where I use these?
Yeah.
Oh,
Let's go take a look.
absolutely.
Okay, come on.
It's
Follow me.
There's so much use for these Lego and like building brick type, toys.
Well,
And
I don't look at it as toys. I look at it as building material,
True.
you know?
True.
And I enjoy it. I have fun. I mean,
it's great.
it took me 2 weeks to think this up, but this hole right here is made of those windows cut down. You see this railing right here? You
Oh.
recognize that piece right there?
Oh my goodness.
with a block in between.
Yeah.
And the magic happens because this is all tied down with a magnet. You see?
It's detachable.
Yeah, it's detachable. So if somebody hits it or slams into it, it can give.
There. Yeah.
If this was glued down positively and a car hit it or somebody... Actually, I've had one kid reaching for a car and blasted already.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, geez.
He didn't know that this opened up. This whole thing here
This
opens
whole
up. That all opens up so they can access the cars.
Makes sense.
But he didn't know it. Boom. And blew it off.
So
Now, had it been glued on, Ryan, it would have been busted to pieces.
would have sheared off that whole
Yeah, it would have
side.
been busted to pieces.
It's-
So anyway,
Yeah.
items like that seem interesting, I must have had this 12 or 15 years before I found a use for it.
Keep this stuff, Go to those garage sales or rummage sales and you'll find
When I
those
pay a
buildings.
buck or two, this is probably the most expensive part of the whole racetrack.
Really?
I got 4 of these around the track. My wife paid $45 to $50 each. So that cut into that $300 heavy.
Yeah.
And I still believe that I got the whole thing, including those for under
Yeah.
$300.
I mean, with the paint and all that, you just gotta. You get it from other jobs. You get it as
yeah.
gifts.
Yeah, right.
That's how you do it. But be resourceful. That's the key. There's so much detail in this track. Thank you again for showing us around. We will have to come back and get more once we take another look around and see what else we can make some details on. If you guys have questions about anything, we'll make another video on it. If you want detail on anything, we can make a video or answer it in the comments.
Yeah, I'll be happy to help you with anything you need.
Otherwise, like and subscribe if you enjoyed this content, and we'll be sure to deliver more. Otherwise, thank you for joining us. Signing off.